If there's one thing I love about nature documentaries, it's the way they can make something ordinary seem extraordinary. Take this clip from the BBC series Life in the Undergrowth. Have you seen it? Extraordinary? Just look at that. Little brown hare casually strolling across the grass, leaping over a stone wall, just disappears into the undergrowth. What's so amazing about that? Well, if you look closely, you'll see it's got a camera strapped to its back. Not an actual camera, but a miniature tracking device weighing just 3 grams or 0.5% of the hare's body weight. And that's what makes this footage so remarkable. The secret life of a hare, captured on camera for the first time. Turns out these little gadgets have been game changers for wildlife biologists. Back in the early 1990s, they were developed by a biologist named Rosie Woodruff at the University of Bristol. She wanted to know how hares use their home range in the winter, but they were proving elusive. Hares are crepuscular, meaning they're most active at dawn and dusk, which made tracking them in the wild pretty difficult. So she came up with a solution. A lightweight tracking device that could be easily attached to the animal's back and transmit its location via radio signals. This was back before GPS technology was widely available, but eventually the team was able to combine these tracking devices with GPS data loggers, enabling them to monitor the hare's every move. What they discovered was that these hares were leading double lives. During the day, they spent their time in close proximity to each other, traveling together in groups and feeding side by side. But at night, once the sun went down, they disappeared into the undergrowth, emerging only briefly to hop over fences and forage for food. They found that each hare had its own home range, which it defended vigorously against intruders. And during the breeding season, males would travel up to 6 miles or 10 kilometers in search of a mate, engaging in elaborate courtship displays before successfully mating. These findings were published in the journal Nature in 1996, and they completely changed our understanding of how hares live. Previously, scientists had assumed that hares were solitary creatures who only came together to mate. But thanks to these tracking devices, they were able to document their complex social behavior and their nocturnal habits. And since then, these little gadgets have helped biologists track all sorts of animals, from foxes and badgers to elephants and pandas. They've even been used to study bats. That's right, bats. These tiny devices have allowed researchers to uncover some of the secrets of these elusive creatures. For example, in 2018, a team of biologists in Australia used camera traps to study the behavior of brush-tail possums, a type of possum found in eastern Australia. By tracking their movements, the researchers were able to map out the possum's home range and identify the key resources they rely on, such as water and food. They also discovered that possums are more active during the day than previously thought, with one individual traveling almost 40 miles or 64 kilometers in a single night. In another study conducted in 2020, biologists in South Africa used camera traps to track the movements of endangered black rhino. They found that the rhinos traveled much farther each day than expected, with some individuals moving up to 22 miles or 35 kilometers in search of food. This information is critical for conservation efforts, as it helps biologists understand the rhino's habitat requirements and identify areas that are important for their survival. And it's not just biologists who are benefiting from this technology. Wildlife managers and conservationists are also able to use camera trap data to monitor populations of threatened species, track the movements of problem animals, and even identify areas where anti-poaching patrols should be focused. So next time you're watching a nature documentary and you see a beautiful, haunting shot of an animal disappearing into the undergrowth, remember that there may be more to that animal than meets the eye. Thanks for watching.